Okay, so just to give you an idea of how much you have to fit, this is where we're headed with this, so just kind of write kind of small. Okay, so a parallelogram, writing it here. A parallelogram, by definition, what makes it a parallelogram is the opposite sides are parallel. So here's what it normally looks like. This side is parallel to this one, and this side is parallel to the bottom here. Okay, so what happens in parallelograms? Well, first thing is opposite sides are congruent. So writing up here, opposite sides are congruent. So just drawing a little visual. So in a parallelogram, this side is equal to this one in length, and the top is equal to the bottom in length. So if you know the length of one of the sides, you also know the length of the opposite side. And then the second thing is opposite angles are congruent. I'm going to start abbreviating. Opposite angles are congruent. Yes.
I don't have that in my copy.
Somebody messed up.
Yeah. Do I have to do it on paper?
Yeah, just maybe not tear it. Well, I'll have to print it out during my planning. So hold on. Okay. There you go. Okay. Opposite angles are congruent, so what that would look like, I'm drawing a little parallelogram here. What I mean by opposite is this angle is equal to this angle over here. And then this angle measure is equal to the opposite angle over here, like on the diagonal. And then next, consecutive angles are supplementary. Consecutive angles are supplementary. Ooh, that handwriting is getting tiny. Okay, so consecutive angles are supplementary. Why does that happen? Let me show you a picture from actually your bell work. Okay, so in the bell work, we had this situation here. These two angles were supplementary. All a parallelogram is this parallel to this, and then this parallel to another side over here. So therefore, consecutive interior angles, you have parallel lines and a transversal, they are supplementary. So how I would show this is I'm going to show a parallelogram here. Say this is x and this is y. X and y. So x plus y equals 180 degrees. So it doesn't matter whether it's these two angles or these two angles, they're supplementary. Okay, next one, the last one actually, is the diagonals bisect each other. And what does that look like? Okay, here's our parallelogram. So a diagonal would be like this and this right here. Okay, so the diagonals are definitely not the same length. This one is longer than this one, but they bisect each other. So this is the midpoint of this segment. This would be the same side as over here. And then this length would be the same length as this segment here. Okay, so all we're going to do is use these ideas, theorems, definitions, whatever you want to call them, to answer the questions. So for number one, it wants to know what x and y are. Well, opposite sides of a parallelogram are equal, so if this is 9, then this would have to be 9. And then y would be 15, because opposite sides are equal. Okay, number two, same idea, opposite sides are congruent, so n must equal 10. And then for this, opposite sides are equal, but we would have to set it up to solve. We'd put 5 equal to 5 plus, or m plus 1. 5 equals m plus 1. and just solve. M equals 4. Number 3, same idea. Of course, they bring in a little bit more algebra. Opposite sides are equal, so we can put 20 equal to z minus 8. And then here it shows two angle measures. Opposite angles are equal, so we can say, okay, d minus 21 equals 105 and solve. Okay, we're not going to do number 4. We're going to just move on. Okay, it says find the measure of the indicated angle in the parallelogram. It says find the measure of angle B right here. Well, consecutive angles are supplementary, so we can do 180 minus 51, and that equals 129 degrees. And then number 6, it wants to know the measure of angle N right here. These are still consecutive angles. If this is a transversal, this is a parallel line here, and parallel line here, these would be consecutive interior angles. So we can just do 180 minus 95 equals 85 degrees. Okay, next. Okay, now it gets a little bit more complicated, but still repeating the same ideas. I'm actually going to use pencil so I can erase as I go if needed, if it gets too crowded. But for all these questions, we're going to be referring to this diagram over here. So LM, this segment right here, is opposite this one, so LM would be 13. LQ, opposite this side, would be 8. LP, so from here to here, just half of that segment. Well, if this is 7, then this would also have to be 7, because remember, the diagonals bisect each other, so this would be 7. MQ. MQ is looking for the entire length of this, and they only give us half of the length, so we just add another 8.2. So 8.2 plus 8.2, 16.4. Okay, so now they're going to start asking us about angles. I'm actually going to erase my mark so I can just focus on the angles. Okay, so it's looking for LMN. So of course, at first, identify what angle they're talking about. LMN would be this whole thing right here, which is, it's equal to this over here. It's also supplementary to this angle, so we can do 180 minus 100 to get that. 80 degrees. So this is 80 degrees right there. Next one, NQL. NQL, this angle right here, again, it's opposite this one, so that would have to be 80 degrees. MNQ, this guy, is opposite this one, which is 100, so it would be 100 degrees. And LMQ, ooh, okay, now they're getting fancy on us. Let's see. Again, I'm erasing. LMQ is just this one right here. So if you have you're told this is a parallelogram, so you know that this side is parallel to this one. With a parallelogram, if this was the transversal, then alternate interior angles would be congruent, so therefore this would be 29. Okay, we'll try, just look at a couple down here. 15. It's pretty straightforward again. Opposite angles are equal, so 2m equals 72. So m equals 36. Then here, these two angles would be supplementary, so 180 minus 72 would equal n. So n equals 108. Wait, is that right? Yeah, 108. 16 is a little bit trickier. These two would be supplementary. Actually, I won't even, you can't even solve this for a number.
Yeah, you just have to put on,
Simple.
like, added D equals B plus 10.
Okay. Let's see. I guess I could look at the answer key or just kind of simplify it. Let's see. So, oh wait, no, you could. Okay, so let's see if we can do it. So b minus 10 plus b plus 10 would equal 180. B minus 10 plus b plus 10 equals 180. And then we could find b, and then we could find the rest. Okay, so b equals 90. So that means this whole angle would be 100 degrees. And then D would equal 100. And then C would be supplementary to that, so C would equal 80. Okay. 17 and 18, we won't go through and solve it, but the whole idea is, okay, the diagonals bisect each other, so therefore this equals this. You could just set them equal and solve. And this equals this, so again, just set it equal. Okay, moving on to the back of the page. There's a couple of these in the question bank, so you might come across them. It says, find the coordinates of the intersection of the diagonals of the parallelogram with the vertices. So it gives us the points. So we're actually going to graph. I'm drawing the graph kind of off to the side just so the numbers fit. So I'm doing it like this. And then I'm going to graph the points. And then drawing out my parallelogram. And my idea is I could just draw the diagonals and see where it intersects. So now I'm going to very precisely draw the diagonals and see if it lands on a specific point where I can just pull it. And unfortunately, it doesn't land at a whole point. And I drew it very precise. So if that happens and you can't see definitely where it intersects, then what you can do, since this bisects each of the lines, you can actually just find the midpoint of the points. So this point is at 2, 5, and this one is at 0, 0. So I'm just going to find the midpoint. So 0, 0, and 2, 5. The midpoint be at 1, 2.5. And yeah, okay, it is there. So where do they intersect? 1, 2.5. And I could have used these 2 points and found the midpoint too. It'll give me the same answer. Okay. So I'm going to let you hop on your homework now. You still have a lot of time, so I'm sure you'll finish your homework early. If you finish your homework early, then get Khan Academy did.